Friday. Look at this picture. This picture is nice. I like the background. Not saying that it's suitable for human living, but the contrast between the old school architecture and the guy standing in front, I think it's a nice photo. But back to the essence of the Ojude Oba celebration, it's a mixture of religious and traditional rites performed within a 2-day period. So on the Friday, there is the Muslim celebration where they perform Eid prayers, Eid al-Mubarak. And then on Sunday, 2 days after the Eid, remember on the Eid, they kill animals, they slaughter rams, cows, goats to appease their religious rites and beliefs. And then on Sunday, they gather in their high numbers in different groups. They call the groups Egbe. So the Egbes come together in different associations, put on their most esteemed attires, right? Traditional attires, and they ride on the back of horses to the palace of the king, the Awujale. The Awujale of Ijebu is the king. So they ride to the king's palace for his display and entertainment. It's an old school tradition that has been existing for possibly thousands of years, maybe hundreds of years at least. And they are still keeping it real. In 2025, the Ojude Oba celebration is now modernized. You know, it looks very colorful. You have very nice looking people with their nice dresses. Respect to some of these people. But let's talk about the real essence of the celebration and what exactly is going on. Are we going to pretend like we don't see the contrast or the classism in the activities in which poor people gather around to watch rich people dress up in their most expensive attires, coming from all over the world, riding on the back of horses to pay homage to the king? Now, the poor people make up the majority of the population, like we all know, right? So they are watching a tiny percentage of the population, these people, riding at the back of horses. Now, these people are also supposed to be connected to the throne, to the kings in some way. They have some affiliation, they're friends, or they are high-ranking Egbes. So the poor people are watching them perform for the king. And the king is also rich. Most importantly, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, these people are all dressed up nice. They look great, if I'm being honest. But the environment in which they are performing, have we seen what our environment looks like in Ijebu-Ode? Have you seen what it looks like? This guy here, this guy on the screen, he's one of the most adored, worshipped, should I call him a performer during the Ojude Oba celebrations? They love the guy so much. Oh, Engineer Farouk. I don't know. I think the guy's name is Farouk. They call him engineer or something. Bro, they love this guy. Okay. But the point is, how come our environment is such a way that the poor people have to gather to watch the rich people pay tribute to their rich king that gets paid by the corrupt politicians? The king gets paid by corrupt politicians to keep him wealthy. His kingdom that he presides over is an absolute shithole. I'm from Ijebu-Ode, so I would gladly speak on this because I'm an Ijebu boy myself. Ijebu-Ode is an absolute dirt place. Zero development, zero infrastructure, horrible roads, no access to pipe-borne water, no electricity. 85% of the population living in abject poverty. And it has been this way. And it's only getting worse. I remember back then in the 90s, we used to go for the Ojude Oba celebration. And we would watch, my grandpa's house. It used to be paved. The road in front of my grandpa's house used to be paved. And then Fast forward 2025. I'm talking about like 30 something years ago. But fast forward 2025, my grandfather's house that used to be paved is now pure dirt road. Why? Because there has never been any progress or development. And this is in the heart of Ijebu-Ode. I'm not talking about some outskirts. It's almost like the downtown of Ijebu-Ode. Zero paved roads, zero access to pipe-borne water, zero access to electricity. But the poor people are still gathering every year to watch the rich people that are displaying their wealth, parading themselves for the rich Oba that gets paid by corrupt politicians. And this is where the problem is. So what exactly are we celebrating? Look, they said this lady here with the blue contact eyes, she has the best eyes in Ijebu-Ode. And they want us to actually inculcate this as part of our tradition. Oh, you should be proud of your culture and tradition. Oh, be proud. You're not proud of your culture. You're not proud of your traditions. But my culture and traditions is telling me that a lady with blue contact eyes, blue contacts, has the best eyes in Ijebu-Ode during the Ojude Oba. So it's pretty much an association, or rather a celebration of classism, the typical Nigerian classism, where all these rich people, all these egbes that are gathering together looking all nice, by the time they step outside of these premises, they are going to be swarmed by beggars, people that will be begging them, oh please, we are so hungry, please can you just give us chicken? We are so hungry, can you give us rice? We are so hungry, just give us anything, we are hungry. And that's what this celebration is. So the king, I don't understand why people have respect for these kings. Your king contributes to your poverty, to your perpetual enslavement. Your king collects money from APC criminals. The other day we saw Tinubu at the Awujale's palace. Obviously, money would have exchanged hands, and the Awujale would have been told to convince his slaves, because that's what you are. If you choose to continue following these crooked traditional rulers, then you've become their slave. So the corrupt politician pays the corrupt king money to gather his slaves to vote for the corrupt politician, and it works. So the traditional institution is working hand in hand with the political institution to keep the people messed up, right? And they hide under culture and tradition, right? And I'm not saying every single thing about this Ojude Oba is bad, because at the end of the day, it could have been modernized in such a way that half of the spectators are not poverty stricken. If they had created a society where most of the people that are coming to view the Ojude Oba, I'm talking about the local people, not tourists that come from outside, but if the local people, half of them had jobs and they had decent lives, had access to basic amenities, there wouldn't be so much classism in Ojude Oba. But the classism in Ojude Oba is not going to end, just like the classism in Nigeria, because Nigeria has eaten deep into every aspect of our lives, including our so-called traditions and cultures, that we've become classists, always preying on the poor people. Look at this. That is the Ojude Oba for you, my people. Ojude Oba 2025, that's what it looks like. But I'm not going to pretend like I don't admire some of their horse riding skills. But that's all about it. I don't respect anything else. Look, if this guy, a corrupt a corrupt guy, governor of Ogun State, can be a part of Ojude Oba, then I definitely will. If the guy is promoting Ojude Oba, then you have to look at it with a side eye and be sure of what you are supporting. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.